All right, so as I promised, I'm going to do number one from each of these questions, just as an example. If you get confused on these, I would highly recommend just kind of using this as a guide, right? These are all of the different weird situations that you could get. Like I said, most problems will fit into either A, where we're kind of pointing outwards, or fit into E, where it's kind of like two things joined together. And so those are the most common. Is we'll get something like E either written like this, 2 less than x less than 3, or this way. Or we'll get something like A. Those are our most common situations. But, it's good to, when we understand these other ones, B, C, D, F, and G, that really solidifies the concept. So then we really understand what does it mean to say or what does it mean to say and. I know this is a little bit of a confusing topic for some of us. So, just use this. It might even be a good idea if this confuses you to even put these examples on your flashcard when we take our test. So we'll have that. So anyways, kind of going here, it just asks us to write each compound inequality in compact form. So all numbers that are less than or equal to 22, so that's x is less than or equal to 22, and greater than -4, that's x is greater than -4. Now, if we're going to write this in compact form is where we have the smaller number, less than x, less than our bigger number. So our smaller number here is -4. That's going to be less than x, less than or equal to 22. Compact form is always with an and. You can only do it when it has an and. And it's only for that, middle case. You don't have to draw this, but it's only for that, middle case. In this case, if I did graph it, right, it would be that inside. You don't have to graph these. What I boxed is all you have to do. And I'll kind of give you a hint on compact form. On compact form, the smaller number is always going to be the one with the greater than sign. See how this one gets switched? Whereas the 22, that sign stayed the same. So it's kind of a little bit of a hint for you on compact form. Okay, so all the rest of these are kind of the same. Then B says write an inequality for each graph. So we're going to look at the graph, and then we're going to get an inequality from it. So I have -8 in between -8, and that looks like 11, right? Because we're counting by twos. So -8, x, and 11. And so remember, when we're doing these in between ones, that's always that same thing. We're in compact form, smaller number, less than x, less than our bigger number. What we need to figure out, though, is it a less than symbol or a less than or equal to? Well, this is open circle, so it's going to have less than. This is a closed circle, so it's going to have less than or equal to. Every single one of these answers on part B, they're all that in-between case. They're all going to be in this form. Like first number, less than x, less than second number, but it's just picking out were they open circles or closed circles, right? I'll do number 2 also. Number 2, it's in between 2 and 6. It's a closed circle, so 2 less than or equal to because of the closed circle. X, 6 has a closed circle, less than or equal to 6. Should be pretty simple. I know part of the notes were confusing. They get funky, but these are like kind of more easier examples that aren't too bad. Okay. C is just doing it the opposite way. Now let's graph it ourselves. So 45, I'm going to put an open circle at 45 because it's just less than, right? Not less than or equal to. And then I'll put an open circle at 75, and x is in between those numbers. Do we see how literally x is in between them? So I'm just going to connect a line in between them. Same thing for number 2. I'm going to do one with, I'll also do number 6 because 6 has one open and one closed. So I put an open at -5. That's going to be right there. I'm going to put an open because it's just less than. Now at 45, so I have the equal to part. So at 45, I'm going to close it and put the closed. X is in the middle, so I literally just graph the middle of it. I graph that middle section. D says write a compound inequality for each situation. Now we have the word or. So the flowers in the garden are 6 inches or taller or shorter than 3 inches. Okay, 6 inches or taller, that's x is greater than or equal to 6. Or shorter than 3 is x is less than 3. Some of these are or, and some of these are and. So on number 2, it says people with a driver's license are at least 16 years old and no older than 85. I guess older than 85, they make you apply for a special kind of license to like prove that you're still safe to drive. So this would be X's greater than or equal to 16 and no older than 85. Now, this one's a little bit weird. No older than 85. Can that include 85? That's kind of an interesting thought. Okay, so I want you to think about that for a second. Does that include 85? So this one is just, it's weird. I won't put anything like this on a test, but basically it's saying, not older than 85. So what we're saying about that is we're saying that X is less than or equal to 85, right? Because it's not older than 85, that would include 85. Okay, so this would be the right answer. You can answer it that way. Or you can do compact form. I like compact form a little better. 16 in between. Basically, we're saying people who have a driver's license, think of it this way, and this is easier. People who have a driver's license are in between 16 and 85. And because we have the word at least, we know that we're including 16. When we say not older than 85, that means we're including 85 because it's just nothing bigger. Okay, so that one's a little bit tricky, but I think it's doable. The rest of these I think are a little simpler. We see the word or there, right? We see the word and. When it says no more than 28, remember no more will mean including 28. We see here, over 1,000 and less than 10. And then this one says from 229 to 381. This is probably the only weird one. From 229 to 381. I want you to think, would this be a situation where we have X in between 229 and 381? So kind of like this. Or would it be, X is smaller than 229 or X is bigger than 381. One of these is the right answer, and one of these is the wrong answer. So think, what does this mean? Does it mean X is in between them? Or does it mean X is either bigger or smaller? It should be pretty obvious to you what the right answer is. Okay. And then finally, this last section, it says we're going to represent these on the inequality line and then write the final solution. These are the funky ones, where some of these are really funky. Some of them are kind of straightforward and normal. But these are where we might have some of the weird cases. Okay, we might have some of the weird cases. Some of them are easier cases, and actually, all of them but one are actually pretty normal. Only one of them, I'm going to be nice to you and tell you, only one answer is a funky case. So when I say funky case, that's when either we get something, like this, where you have, these going the same way, right? Or, something kind of like that. The rest of these, actually, all but one of these are either going to be this middle case, and that's when we have an and, or they're going to be this kind of opposites case, and that's where we have an or. Okay, so most of them these are like the normal situations, okay? So X is greater than 2 and X is less than or equal to 7. So if I kind of put a 0 here, 1, 2, X is greater than 2 to the right, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put a closed circle there, pointing to the left. When I see the word and, that means where do they overlap? Where do they overlap? So they overlap in between 2 and 7. So what we're going to do for our answer here, let me erase this to have some room. What we're going to do for our answer here is we're going to just regraph this. Okay, regraph it with 2 and with 7. Put an open circle at 2, closed circle at 7, and connect them. And then let's write our final solution into compact form. That's what I'm going to answer. This is my answer. I'll do another one like this. I'll do number 3. So number 3, X is greater than or equal to 5. So greater than or equal to closed circle pointing to the right. Or X is less than 3, open circle pointing to the left. And that's actually my answer. Okay? So that's my answer because when I have or, that's kind of everything. We just use everything. So since I use everything, my answer is going to be x is less than 3 or x is greater than or equal to 5. I just leave it, exactly the same thing. I wrote in the opposite order. You could leave it the same. I usually do the one on the left first and the one on the right second, so I just switch the order. But if you had wrote the exact same thing, that's fine. Okay. So that's how to do these. Numbers 4, 5, and 6 are all kind of the easy situations. And then actually, I messed up. There are 2 funky ones. Number 2, I'll kind of star them for you. Number 2 and number 8 are both kind of like the weirder situations. So go ahead and just take a look back at, these guys, some of those weirder situations, and they're going to be some of these kind of more strange situations. Okay. Email me if you need any help, and good luck on the homework, and I will see everyone in class tomorrow.